Mark, we want to ask you today about the most recent amendments to the Code of Ethics. We know that it's a document that can change, and it does change. And so if I'm somebody who hasn't maybe gotten the most current changes on ethics across the last few years, what would you say are the most important or the amendments that I need to know about?
We all know the Code of Ethics has been around since 1913. That's when it was adopted. And from 1913 to just about 1990, the code was amended within that 70-year period about 40 times. From 1990, 2000, 2010s, and to where we're at today, it has been amended every year since then. And not just one amendment. You don't just, they won't, if they've got 5 amendments for that year, they'll do that. And the reason is because of technology. A lot of the amendments have to do with the Code of Ethics and how we've progressed in technology. And as you know, we're such a litigious society. For every action, for every lawsuit, there's a reaction. Probably in the last 3 years, the 3 most, I would say, important amendments, and I don't want to say not one is more important than the other.
Right, but more
but
critical.
The ones we have to be leery of as realtors, first of all, is Article 10, fair housing. Now, of course, we know that we cannot discriminate federally against the protected classes, but as a realtor, the National Association has adopted 2 more classes that we cannot discriminate against, and if we do, we can be charged with a violation of Article 10, and those 2 protected classes now are sexual orientation and gender identity. And those were adopted in 2014 and 2015, respectively. So I think a lot of realtors know fair housing. They're taught fair housing. They know the federal fair housing classes they cannot discriminate against. But these 2 more classes are in the Code of Ethics that you cannot discriminate against. Probably another important amendment that came about in 2013 has to do with Article 12. And Article 12 is you have to make sure you paint a true picture in your advertising, but not just, print advertising. I think we've talked before, it is illegal or against the Code of Ethics to Photoshop the power lines out of your main picture.
Right.
Article 12, Standard of Practice 1210, specifically targets websites. Search engines, and it basically says you cannot mislead the consumer on your website. In other words, you can't direct traffic to your website by false pretense. Let's just say I would type in your name, amywhite.com, and I would buy your name on a GoDaddy account. But let's say you didn't buy. I couldn't own your name, and then if anyone ever Googled your name, it would lead to my website. That's unethical.
Right.
So in 2013, they really pushed for the internet, web technology, and what we can and can't do also against the Code of Ethics in that facet.
Would you say that that's primarily where the changes have come over the last few years for the code have been technology-based, things that were issues because technology's changed the industry so much that we had to sort of catch up?
Oh, of course, yes, most definite. It was. I always joked that when I first started in 1999, I used to drive around with a roll of quarters in my car to stop and use the payphone. Now we can pretty much do everything we want in our car.
Right.
And so the Code of Ethics had to catch up to the technology because as technology improved and new devices, new ways to do business came out, people were thinking way outside the box.
Right.
And, whether it was unethical then, of course, there was always the National Association looked at what was going on with technology, and they have made these amendments.